Nobody saw this coming. Max Verstappen just dominated Monza with a performance that left McLaren and Ferrari scrambling for answers, securing his first victory in 9 races with a commanding 19-second margin. The 3-time world champion hadn't looked competitive during any of the practice sessions, yet when it mattered most, he delivered what many are calling the drive of the season. Red Bull's current predicament tells the full story of their dramatic fall from grace. The team sits 4th in the Constructors' Championship, AT, their worst position in over a decade. The last time Red Bull occupied this lowly position was back in 2015, when Daniel Kvyat and Daniel Ricciardo drove for the team. Nico Rosberg hadn't yet claimed his world championship, and Lotus and Marussia were still competing in the sport. Since that 2015 season, Red Bull have consistently finished in the top 3 of the Constructors' Championship, making this year's struggles particularly jarring. Verstappen's drought had stretched 9 races since his last victory at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in May, with McLaren's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri consistently outpacing the RB21. The Dutchman had previously described his car as a monster during last year's title defense, but this season brought different challenges as Red Bull generally couldn't compete with McLaren except on high-speed circuits like Suzuka and Imola. Monza provided the perfect opportunity, and Verstappen seized it with a brilliant pole position at an all-time record pace. He set the fastest average speed in Formula One history for the current generation of cars, clocking 164.466 miles per hour with a lap time of 1 minute 18.792 seconds. This performance shattered Lewis Hamilton's 2020 record of 164.286 miles per hour, previously considered untouchable given the current regulations designed to produce slower cars. The race itself showcased Verstappen at his absolute peak. Norris challenged at the start, forcing Verstappen to cut the first chicane to retain his lead. Red Bull immediately ordered him to let Norris back past to avoid a penalty, but Verstappen launched an immediate counterattack. By the start of lap 4, he had regained the lead with a masterful overtaking move into the first chicane, never looking threatened again. McLaren attempted a strategic gamble with late pit stops, hoping for a safety car that would provide cheap pit stops and allow them to attack Verstappen on fresh, soft tyres. The safety car never materialized, leaving Verstappen to cruise to victory with the largest winning margin of the season. The technical explanation behind this record-breaking performance reveals fascinating insights about current Formula One machinery. Despite being slower overall than their 2020 counterparts, today's cars produce less drag, making them faster on straights. At Monza, where cars spend more time at full throttle than anywhere else, this advantage becomes crucial. Additionally, Monza received new tarmac before last year's race, providing significantly more grip than the worn surface Hamilton used for his 2020 record. Verstappen offered his honest assessment of the achievement. "Honestly, I didn't even think about that when I crossed the line, but it's nice. It didn't feel too bad. The cars have been fun. They're pretty decent in the high speed. They're quite quick in a straight line. Of course, the low speed, that's where we lose out compared to the previous generation." He acknowledged that the 2020 Mercedes is still quicker if you put it on the track now, demonstrating his realistic understanding of current limitations. The most significant revelation came when Verstappen credited one major change for this transformation: the appointment of Laurent Mekies as team principal, replacing Christian Horner. Mekies, with his extensive engineering background from his Ferrari days, has imposed a completely different approach to solving the RB21's problems. Verstappen explained the fundamental shift in methodology. "Up until now, we've had a lot of races where we're just shooting left and right a little bit with the setup of the car. Quite extreme changes, which shows that we were not in control, we were not fully understanding what to do." This scattergun approach under Horner's leadership had left the team frustrated and directionless. The new team principal's engineering expertise has proven transformative. With Laurent having an engineering background, he's asking the right questions to the engineers, common sense questions. "So, I think that works really well," Verstappen revealed. The implication was clear. Horner, despite his 2 decades of experience turning Red Bull into Formula One giants, lacked the technical understanding necessary to guide the team through complex aerodynamic challenges. Mekies' methodical approach focuses on building understanding rather than random experimentation. You try to understand from the things that you've tried. Then, At one point, something gives you a bit of an idea of a direction, and that's what we kept working on, Verstappen explained. This structured methodology marked his third race in charge, with improvements visible from the Dutch Grand Prix. The progression under Mekies has been steady and confidence-building. I definitely felt that in Zandvoort already, we took a step that seemed to work quite well, and then here another step, which felt again a little bit better, Verstappen noted. This systematic improvement represents a stark contrast to the previous approach of extreme setup changes that showed lack of control. Toto Wolff witnessed this dominant display firsthand and couldn't hide his admiration, stating, "Today, one driver made everyone else look silly." The Mercedes team principal's comments carried extra weight given his confirmed interest in signing Verstappen for 2027. This result likely served as a painful reminder of what Mercedes failed to secure for next season. Wolff used Verstappen's performance as a benchmark for his current drivers. They really need to ask themselves what he's doing differently. Overall, we weren't competitive over the weekend. A 5th and an 8th place are absolutely not satisfactory. His criticism extended to both Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, emphasizing that when Verstappen is at the top of his game, with a car that matches his talents, he is on another level. The championship mathematics remain stark for Verstappen. Even if he won every remaining race, Oscar Piastri would still claim the title by 14 points if the McLaren driver consistently finished third. However, this Monza victory serves as a powerful statement about Verstappen's enduring class and Red Bull's potential resurgence. Mekies' impact extends beyond immediate race results. His engineering-focused leadership has restored Verstappen's confidence in the team's direction and ability to solve technical problems systematically. The transformation from frustrated experiments to methodical development represents a fundamental shift in Red Bull's operational philosophy. This Monza triumph demonstrates how quickly fortunes can change in Formula One when the right leadership meets exceptional talent. Verstappen's record-breaking performance, combined with Mekies' structured approach, suggests Red Bull may have found the formula to return to championship contention in 2025 and beyond. The ripple effects of this leadership change are already becoming apparent throughout the Red Bull organization. Team members who had grown accustomed to the chaotic setup philosophy now witness a methodical approach that builds confidence with each session. Mekies' ability to ask the right technical questions has unlocked insights that were previously overlooked, creating a more collaborative environment between management and engineers. Verstappen's renewed enthusiasm represents perhaps the most significant indicator of Red Bull's transformed trajectory. The driver who once described his car as unmanageable now speaks with conviction about understanding their development path. This psychological shift cannot be understated in a sport where driver confidence directly translates to lap time performance. Mercedes and Ferrari must now reconsider their strategic assumptions for the remainder of 2024. Red Bull's sudden competitiveness at Monza suggests they could challenge on other high-speed circuits, potentially disrupting the established pecking order. McLaren, despite their championship position, cannot afford complacency with Red Bull demonstrating race-winning pace. The timing of Mekies' appointment proves crucial for Red Bull's 2025 preparations. Understanding the RB21's characteristics through systematic analysis provides valuable data for next year's car development. The team's ability to extract maximum performance from a problematic chassis demonstrates their underlying technical competence remains intact. Verstappen's performance also sends a clear message to the driver market. His ability to deliver exceptional results, even with inferior machinery, reinforces his status as Formula One's premier talent, potentially influencing future contract negotiations and team strategies across the paddock.